If you're a smart, capable adult and health insurance still makes you feel like you're failing a pop quiz, it's not you. It's the rules changing mid game, the fine print, and the sorry, that's not covered surprise that shows up after the appointment. I'm the person friends text when their parent gets a denial letter and everyone's panicking. Not because I love paperwork, I truly don't, but because I grew up inside a family where coverage decisions decided whether we got help at home or if it fell apart. Right now, you're trying to keep a job, run a household, and suddenly become the insurance translator for a parent or spouse. One wrong move, a missed enrollment, out of network rehabilitation, or a prior authorization you didn't know existed, and the bill lands on your kitchen counter like a threat. I remember when I was 15 and my father's multiple sclerosis progressed until he's wheelchair bound. Overnight, our house turns into a command center. My mother working, parenting, coordinating care, and trying to protect everybody's dignity. She calls doctors, nurses, even human resources, and it's like shouting to the wind. They call back, but the information doesn't help. The turning point isn't luck, it's learning the system well enough to get home health and equipment so that my dad can stay home instead of being pushed toward a nursing facility. What you want is a clear path, what coverage fits, what to do first, and how to keep care moving without constant emergencies. You want fewer denials, faster approvals, and the calm of knowing you're not one phone call away from a financial mess. That's why I built the Caregiver First Coverage Confidence System. It works because it's designed for real caregiver life, short on time, high stakes, and zero patience for policy speak. Instead of tossing you a giant education dump, it routes you through the right coverage path: Medicare, Medicaid, employer plans, marketplace, based on what's happening in your family right now, and it includes the practical tools that actually change outcomes: the checklist, the scripts, the appeal templates, and the organization system that keeps details from slipping through the cracks. Picture this: you stop losing lunch breaks to hold music because you already know what to ask and what to document. You walk into a discharge planning meeting with a one-page summary, not a shaky memory, and a half charged phone. You make plan choices with a decision grid instead of panic, so your parent, child, or spouse keeps their doctors and meds without a coverage cliff. And you sleep peacefully because you've got a repeatable process for the next curveball: rehab, home health, relocation, new diagnosis. If you don't get a handle on this, the system will keep charging you a stress tax. Denials turn into delays. Delays turn into complications. And then you're managing a health crisis plus a billing crisis at the same time. Enrollment windows close quietly. Networks change, and suddenly the specialist you need is not participating. Meanwhile, scams keep circling older adults, and the one persuasive phone call can drain money or reroute coverage before you even realize what happened. I remember watching my mother try to do everything right and still get blocked at every turn. She's exhausted, but she's still making calls between work and dinner, hoping someone will explain what to do. When she finally connects with the Multiple Sclerosis Society and start learning how coverage really works, things shift fast. Services that felt impossible become achievable. Home health shows up, equipment arrives. The situation is still hard, but it's no longer hopeless. That's the moment I realized the secret isn't being pushy. It's having a map and using the right words at the right time. A friend, Cheryl, came to me unsure if a relative's placement was appropriate and terrified of making a choice she couldn't undo. Using the coverage guidance and decision framework, she stayed confident in the plan and stopped second guessing every step. Over time, her aunt's mobility improved significantly. She went from wheelchair use to walking with a walker. I've also seen caregivers go from "I don't even know what plan we have" to having a clean binder, a denial response plan, and a documented call log that gets them taken seriously within days instead of months. Most denials aren't the end of the road. They're often paperwork, timing, or missing documentation, which means a system can change the outcome. And the biggest financial hits I see are rarely the monthly premium. They're the surprise out of network bills, the uncovered post acute care, and the missed enrollment opportunities that lock families into the wrong setup for a full year. My background is in healthcare administration, Medicaid, and Medicare account management. I translate coverage rules into plain language you can actually use. This is built from lived caregiver reality, plus the operational side of how approvals, networks, and plan rules in the real world, not theory. The Caregiver First Coverage Confidence System is a practical book series paired with downloadable tools and guided walkthroughs. You get short, readable chapters that explain Medicare, Medicaid, employer plans, and marketplace coverage without the usual fog. You also get the caregiver infrastructure, checklists, worksheets, call scripts, a decision grid for comparing options, and plug and play templates for prior auth tracking and appeals. The course and instructional videos add watch me do it demos, how to build a binder, set up a calendar for deadlines, and organize documents so you can act fast when something changes. Here's what it looks like in real life. You open the system and start with which path is yours. Then you follow a tight sequence: coverage basics for your situation, the plan comparison sheet, the enrollment and network checks, and the paperwork flow that prevents avoidable denials. When a letter arrives, you don't spiral. You just match it to the denial playbook, pull up the right template, and respond with documentation instead of emotion. It's like having a calm operations manager for your family's healthcare. I keep this intentionally focused on overwhelmed caregivers, not the general public, because the tools assume you're juggling kids, work, and a medically complex adult or child. And since I provide direct guidance alongside the materials, I limit how many new families I support at once so nobody gets rushed. Before I tell you how to go deeper with me, I want to give you three things you can use today, especially if you're in the middle of a decision or a denial. Tip number one: the three checks before you say yes rule. Before you agree to any appointment, procedure, rehab stay, or home health service, run three checks: network, authorization, and benefit limits. Network tells you whether the provider is treated as in network for that exact plan, not they take Medicare in general. Authorization tells you if prior approval is required, and benefit limits tell you the cap, the number of therapy visits or days in a facility. This prevents the classic trap where care is medically appropriate and financially explosive. Take an action step. Open a note on your phone called Coverage Checks. Write three lines: network, prior auth, limits. The next time someone schedules care, ask those three questions and write down the name, date, and reference number from the plan or the provider office. Tip number two: build a call log that makes people take you seriously. A caregiver with a clean call log gets faster results because it turns a messy story into a verifiable timeline. When you can say, "I spoke with Maria in utilization management on Tuesday at 10:12 a.m. and she confirmed X," the conversation changes. It also protects you when a plan rep contradicts a prior statement. The one habit, this one habit, reduces the hapless feeling more than almost anything else. There's an action step. Create a simple log with 5 columns: date, time, who you spoke with, department, what they said, next step. Use it for every call, even the quick ones. If you already have a denial, Start the log today and backfill the last 2 weeks from your phone history and emails. Tip number 3, the Scam Shield script for older adults. This one is very important. Scams work because they create urgency and confusion, exactly what caregivers are already drowning in. The safest default is your parent never gives personal info to inbound callers, even if the caller says Medicare, pharmacy, or planned benefits. Instead, you call back using the number on the insurance card or an official statement. A simple household script stops most damage before it starts, and it reduces the chance of unauthorized plan changes or financial theft. Here's the action step: text your parent or your spouse the exact line. If someone calls about insurance or benefits, tell them you don't do business by phone and you'll call the number on your card. Then place a sticky note on their phone with "Hang up, call family, use card number." If those tips already lowered your stress even a little, imagine having the full roadmap and the tools organized in one place. That's what I built them for the moments when the stakes are high and you don't have the time to guess. Here's a quick question: what are you dealing with this week? Choosing a plan, fixing a denial, or trying to set up care after a hospital stay? And be honest, are you making decisions based on clear rules or based on whatever the last person on the phone happened to say? If you're near an enrollment deadline, a discharge date, or a medication change, waiting makes everything harder. The earlier you set up the system, the fewer emergency fixes you'll pay for later, financially and emotionally. Here's the next step: download the Coverage Chaos Triage Kit. Watch the introductory webinar and grab Book 1 of the Caregiver First Coverage Confidence System. The kit helps you sort what's urgent versus what can wait so you can stop spinning. The webinar walks you through the Caregiver First approach and which path is your structure. Book 1 gives you the plain language foundation, plus the first set of checklists and worksheets so you can make a decision you can defend. Here are the steps. Step 1: use the Coverage Chaos Triage Kit to identify your coverage path and your top 3 risks: network, enrollment, denials. Step 2: watch the introductory webinar and fill out the one-page caregiver snapshot so you can see the whole situation at once. Step 3: read Book 1 in short sessions and complete the decision grid for your parents' or your spouse's current plan options. Step 4: set up your denial and approvals workflow, call log, document folder, and the appeal template so you're ready before the next letter arrives. You're not behind because you're careless. You're behind because the system is complicated on purpose and you're carrying too much. You now have 3 immediate tools, plus a clear way to turn coverage chaos into a step-by-step process. Go download the Coverage Chaos Triage Kit now and watch the webinar and pick up Book 1. If you do nothing else today, do that because it gives you traction fast. The Caregiver First Coverage Confidence System is built as a practical, plain language series with downloadable checklists, worksheets, scripts, and templates, plus guided videos that show you exactly how to use them. You're not paying for theory, you're paying to avoid expensive mistakes, wrong plan choices, missed windows, preventable denials, and scam exposure. Book 1 is the lowest friction entry point, and it's designed to pay for itself the first time it helps you prevent one out of network surprise or one delayed approval. You also have a repeatable system you can reuse for the next hospitalization, rehab decision, or more. And here are some bonuses: Denial Response Starter Pack, which is a simple letter tracking workflow plus an appeal template you can adapt quickly. There's a caregiver call log plus script sheets, ready to use prompts for plan reps, provider offices, and discharge planners. Also, a scam shield checklist, which is a family agreement and step by step safeguards to reduce scam risk for older adults. If you're not ready for book one yet, still download the Coverage Chaos Triage Kit and start with the 3 tips. You'll be in a much stronger position within an hour. I guarantee the system is plain language and action based. If you can't identify your coverage paths and complete the first decision grid after working through book one, you can request a refund. And if you follow the call log and documentation steps, you will have a clearer paper trail for approval and appeals than you have right now because it's built into the process. If you're tired of being the family fixer with no playbook, book a coverage calm mapping call. It's short, focused session where we sort what matters, what's urgent, and what's costing you money or time. You leave knowing your next 3 moves, not carrying a mental pile of maybes. And you don't have to wait for the next denial letter to start acting like a pro. You might be thinking, I can't add one more thing to my plate. That's exactly why this is structured in short chapters and quick tools, so you can do it in 15-minute chunks between real life. Or you might be thinking, we already have Medicare or employer coverage, so we should be fine. Coverage is only fine until you hit a network gap, a prior auth requirement, or a post hospital care decision. And if you're worried, what if I still choose wrong? The whole point is to replace guessing with a documented decision process you can explain to siblings, doctors, and plans. After this, you're not starting from zero every time something changes. You'll have a family health care operating system, what plan you have, why you chose it, where the documents live, and how to respond when the system pushes back. You'll feel steadier at work because you're not constantly firefighting during business hours. And your parent, child, or spouse is safer because scams and manipulative sales tactics have fewer openings. Once you take action, you get the Coverage Chaos Triage Kit immediately and a clear link to the introductory webinar. If you book a coverage calm mapping call, you'll answer a few quick questions first so we don't waste time in the session. On the call, we identify your current coverage path, pinpoint the biggest risk areas, and outline the next steps with a simple timeline. You leave with a written summary so you're not relying on memory. This is a healthcare from diapers to depends. Simple words, clear steps, real tools. I'm here to translate Medicare, Medicaid, employer plans, and marketplace coverage into decisions you can make with confidence. You don't need to become an expert. You need a respectable, repeatable method that protects care, money, and time. And that's what this system is built to do. Download the Coverage Chaos Triage Kit and book your Coverage Calm mapping call now. Get the plan choice and denial stress out of your head and into a clear, workable process. If cost is a worry, compare it to the one out of network bill, one extra month in the wrong plan, or one delayed service that forces you to take more time off work. This is a cheaper problem to solve first. I only open a limited number of mapping calls at a time because I want each family to get real attention. If you see a slot, grab it. These openings don't sit there for long. You're doing something hard, and you're doing it while carrying someone else's normal life too. With the right coverage and a solid system, your parent, your child, your spouse gets care with less friction, and you get to be a son or a daughter or a partner. Once again, not just a case manager. This is how families stay financially steady while still saying yes to the care their loved one needs, and it starts with one clear next step. Do it now while it's on your mind. Download the kit, book the coverage calm mapping call. Get your next move on the paper today.